Recording.
Barada, Croeso e Gymru. More specifically, welcome to a lay-by on the A4244, just near Berham petrol station, halfway between Bangor and Llanberis. So I'm going to do, or try and do, the Goofy Bastard Challenge today. A full unedited vlog for at least 10 minutes. So I've been thinking about a few things. First of all, it's nearly 2 months since I've actually been on this bike. So that's 2 months road tax I've lost. Still, at least that means that Boris's booze bill has had some payment rather than going to the roads. End of the political stuff now. Right. Yeah, my main thoughts were around those changes to the highway code have just taken place here in the UK. For those of you that aren't in the UK, it's basically our code of practice for how we are supposed to behave on the road, whether we be a pedestrian, cyclist, horse rider, car driver, motorcyclist, lorry driver, bus driver, horse and carriage driver, whatever. Last week on Radio 2, the UK's largest or most popular, I should say, radio channel, they had a phone in at lunchtime, and I happened to hear some of it while I was travelling between places, and the chap came on and he was stating quite authoritative, well, I can't think of the word, but quite with authority. He was stating how he had the belief that horses were incredibly dangerous because they produce poo, and motorcyclists cannot avoid poo. The host of the programme said, "Oh, so you're a motorcyclist, are you?" To which the reply was something like, no, but my friends are and they tell me. So basically the big boys made him ring up because they didn't have the nerve to go on. My gut feeling is their thoughts were, we don't like it. But when you think about it, it's probably a case of, if you can't avoid a bit of horse poo in the road, you're either riding with too much speed, too little skills, or possibly a combination of both of them. Anyway, there was also a horse rider on at the same time who had to point out that actually she was a motorcyclist, and she didn't feel he was being correct. So I thought, I'm going to go out today, we'll have a look at a couple of country lanes, and we'll see whether or not we bump into any horse poo. Now, I've chosen the roads that I do know horses frequent, basically because I see them quite regularly. If I do see any horse poo, we'll just see whether or not it can be avoided, can't be avoided, and if it can't be avoided, will I crash and die like this chap basically predicted. This to my left here is the A55 North Wales Expressway. This is just a little country lane. So I thought it'd be good for a bit of fun just to see. Now, I do have a slight vested interest in that I have taught people CBTs and direct access in the past, in a previous life. I do spend quite a lot of time riding, really, and I didn't think that the chap's comments were particularly accurate. I see here where he's coming from, but I didn't actually agree. Oh, now this is a bit bigger than a bit of horse poo. Whoa, I managed to ride through this. Have I crashed yet? No. Mind you, if anyone was watching the Chronicles of Mr. Fish, he had a test on a nice little 125 Honda recently. And the part of the video was, I felt quite sorry for him, to be honest, but I couldn't help but laugh because I have a sick sense of humour. But he came something like, "Well, this should be fun, but I won't tell you what happened after." Oh, look, now this is really mucky and muddy here. Have I crashed yet? No. So, okay. So far, I can cope with it. So how big is this horse poo and how bad really is it? Well, horse poo tends to be, I suppose, about 30 centimetres across. So I think we should be thinking, can we avoid that? Now, if we're going too fast, we aren't going to be able to avoid it necessarily without consequences. Oh, this is a bit muddy. That was good. So, I don't know. I think he's got a point, but I think he might have spoken with more authority had he actually been able to ride a motorcycle. I think what they're saying is, if it takes you by surprise, you might have a bit of an issue. Right, now I'm just going to stop for a second. And it's got nothing to do with anything. Yes, I know it's a dangerous position. I can hear you all saying that's not good. But as you've seen, this particular road isn't great. Foolishly, I forgot to put my GoPro on. That's a shame. Well, if anything does go horribly wrong, you do want as many pictures as possible. Right, yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so what wasn't mentioned, and I felt quite sad about, was this whole issue of horse poo being actually very beneficial. Now, bear with me, I know it sounds stupid, but if you think about it, if you're going along a road and you find you come up against a pile of steaming hot horse poo, what's going to be round in the near distance? Surely it gives you a clue that it's a horse. So don't just neglect, moan about it. It actually does have, if you think about what you're seeing, it does have some benefits. I forgot to put my waterproof socks on today. I'll probably be whinging later. So yeah, that's a good thing, to think about. Likewise, if you find a load of steaming cow poo, as a herd of cows. Now, I know I'm being a bit stereotypical here, but I'm meaning it for a reason. You're in Wales, in a country lane. Don't be surprised if there's a sheep round the corner. And if it's a quiet lane like this, don't be surprised if you bump into a sheepdog, a walker, a cyclist, because that's what you get down the roads. Be prepared for them. Don't just think, oh, this is nice and quiet, there'll be no one around here. Now, in many ways, that's the problem. When we ride on an urban environment, you've got everything coming at you thick and fast. So which way have I got to go? I've got to go that way for my plan, haven't I? You know damn well that around the next corner there's going to be a cyclist, a pedestrian crossing, a cat running across the road, all these kind of things. It's all coming at you because there's a quantity of traffic. Once you get on these kind of roads where there's nothing for a long while, you forget and you become complacent. It's very easy to get complacent that nothing's going to come around the corner. So you then fly around the corner only to find there's a tractor, a sheep, a dog, a walker, a cyclist. Oh, some horse poo. I hadn't really thought about it. Yeah, all these different things. And you've become complacent, and that's what actually catches you out. It's not the horse poo. It's not the hazard. The hazard isn't there. It's you becoming complacent. So I thought, yeah, this guy's got a point. But he's not really seeing the issue. Now, if his friends have genuinely told him that, and we've got no reason to assume they haven't, that's where the trouble lies. These are people who aren't necessarily oh yeah. These are people that perhaps aren't necessarily seeing that and taking it for advantage. It's their advantage. Oh, that was some poo. Oh, I missed it. Phew. Oh, did I die? No. Oh well. here's some poo. I'm going to deliberately ride over that. Now, looking at that poo, that has been well run over. It's been so I'm guessing they might not be that far away, but it tells me it's a road used by animals. So I'm prepared now. I'm armed with that information. Oh, a bit of poo. Yeah, did I manage to get round that poo? Yeah, I did manage to avoid it. Admittedly, I drove with it first, but hey ho. And that's my point. Let's just look at these things. Anyway, enough of me ranting about these subjects. What's next on the agenda? Yes. I want to talk about... Oh, hang on a minute. Before I even start talking about that, I don't know if the camera's picking it up. It'd be interesting if it is. If you can see, standing up here, that big building over there, that's what we call YG, as Butty Gwyneth. That's their local hospital. It's a massive place. Big up to all the nurses, etc. It doesn't need to be said, but I just thought I would. Yeah, trail riding, off-road riding, whatever you call it, green raining, and the TET. I've been having a bit of a thought about it. Oh, just missed another horse poo. Sorry, it's been really exercising my mind, that thing on the radio. Yeah, if you know anything about, or have any slight interest even, in green lanes, you may have heard of either the Trans-Euro Trail over here in the UK, or the TRF, the Trail Riders Fellowship. And I'd initially, with my prejudice and miserable mindset on, just managed to curve around that. Thought, well, this tech thing, it seems to be designed so a lot of bikes can't use it. Well, that's the flaming point in it. Now, rather than just go and whine, I thought to myself, no, I'm going to think, well, hang on a minute, I'll challenge my own misconceptions. See if they are misconceptions and see if I am, in fact, a genius and that I did know what was going on and that I was right. Yeah, it's a bit muddy around here, isn't it? Someone's going to have a very muddy motorcycle. And if I fall off, I'll have a very wetty kit. So I started looking at it. And yes, some part of the Trans-Euro Trail, or the TET, does require you to really have quite a dirt-specific bike. And it needs to be quite small and light because you can get in places where you're going to get stuck and you can get all sorts of difficult terrain that maybe a bigger bike won't cope with. So an adventure bike can't necessarily go on the adventure, is what I'm saying. Is this the one? No, not that one. That's not a proper road. Yeah, that would be good. Didn't want to trespass. So to me that does seem a bit... Well, anyway, that's where I'd started my thought process. So I then had a look at it and actually looked into it and then realised actually the tech is a pretty fantastic thing. Because you don't have to... Oh, hey, tractor! He ain't going to get past, so I'm going to go back. La da da. Let's let this chap go. Yeah, so where are we? Nanda. Yeah. You don't have to do every single track. Some of the tracks are going to be tough for bigger bikes, but there are other bits that are even roads, and they're going to be in quiet areas. So just, I was wrong to dismiss it. It was a really clever thing. It gets people out into the outdoors. Now, not only that, but you may not realise this, but the tech has spawned opportunities to further enhance your off-road motorcycling. For example, here in Wales, in mid Wales I think is probably the best way of describing it, we've got the Tetty. Now the Tetty, which way should I go? I'm going to go that way. The Tetty, bless it, is a nice little challenging route that really, yes, you do need dirt bikes for, by the look of it, of really little used but perfectly legal green lanes, where the basis is a section of the Tet. And I believe there's plenty of other opportunities you can take that are using bits of the Tet as a basis to then go and explore beyond that. And then when you look at it like that, it's a damn clever thing, and it's a really good thing. So I changed my mind and I thought, no, the Tet's fantastic, and the people that actually put the work into the Tet, I think that it should be really applauded. Personally, it would be nicer for me as a rubbish off-road rider and with a bike that's really not that suitable, if more of it was accessible to, say, an adventure bike. But it doesn't matter. I don't have to do every single bit of it. And if I was that keen, I'd go out and get a dirt bike. But hey ho. It's a marvellous thing. And unwittingly, I found that I have in fact ridden on bits of the Tet. I don't know whether I filmed any of it, but I've certainly ridden on bits of the Tet myself. And I think it's a brilliant concept. When I really thought about it and didn't just get all prejudicial about it, I suddenly realised just how valuable it is. And when I say valuable, I mean valuable because it is a brilliant resource for us to exploit to our advantage. Now, a lot of that won't be possible, or wouldn't be possible, I should say, without the Trail Riders Fellowship. Now, it is expensive to join. It's not like a £20 a year, it is a bit more than that. But there's a reason behind it, and that reason, oh dear, I'm in the wrong side of the road, I'm going to have to cross some dirt. Have I crashed and died? No, not yet. Oh dear. Yeah, I did that deliberately, guys. Oh, that man and his horse poo comments, that's really got to me, isn't it? Like a dog with a bone. Yeah, they really do some good work. They essentially keep some of the lanes open by practical work, such as actually going down there and removing obstacles like fall down trees, etc., etc. But they also work with the authorities to make sure that things are approved and kept safe and kept open. And they also contest where they perceive misjudgments of decisions in banning the use of bike traffic down the green lanes. And I'm aware of at least one lane, not too far from here, where they even put a voluntary ban on. Just to help keeping it protected at a vulnerable time. I'm not going to say which lane it was, but you know, this is the whole thing. The TRF are doing some sterling work. And they produce some resources as well. Yes, I've seen the bus. Oh dear. Oh dear. They do some sterling work around that, that preservation and legalities. And I think it should be applauded. So, big shout out. You know, if you want to support the TRF, I think it's trf.org, something like that. But you can go on there and join online. I'm not sure about the text Trans-Euro Trail, how you deal with that. I haven't looked that up, and I should have done really before I came out, but I failed. Now I reckon I must have done me 10 minutes by now, so here I'm going to call that the end of the Goofy Bastard Challenge, and I'm going to head off somewhere else while the weather's not too bad. In the meantime, mind that horse poo, and see you the next time.